Tornadoes sounds like a really good dubstep band.
Yeah.
Band
I would
DJ,
listen to Tornadoes.
right? Like it's Adam Gray from Texas in July on drums, and then some dude just going hard on a keytar, but it's dubstep.
Guitar dubstep is the best dubstep.
Okay, so I also played a Slide in the Woods a while back. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot.
My first impression was this is a meme game. When I saw it and I looked at the cover and I was like, I'm not one to judge a game by its cover, but you see a game with a thumbnail like that, you think, oh, Slide in the Woods, this is going to be a funny meme.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what made it so terrifying when it finally started kicking in the good horror. Because when you start the game, it's not too impressive. Trees, slide, dirt, textures, whatever.
Yeah, and you're like,
And then,
oh, I'm just.
yeah,
It's literally just a loop, and the horror comes from the emptiness or the perceived what could happen. You scare yourself, kind of thing. Oh,
there's
it's
an immediate sense of tension that, like, there's something just ominous about the entire environment. Not just the slide,
yeah.
not just you, not just. It's just the whole thing works together really well there. And then you
Like
start going
why?
down the slide.
Yeah, like
It's.
the first thing you say to yourself is why. As soon as
And
the
when you
game
start
loads in, you turn, you look at the slide, you realize you're in the middle of nowhere, and you say why.
And when you start questioning yourself and your surroundings and you just don't know what's going on or anything at the moment, that's what starts to build tension. The fear of not knowing immediately is present in every single one of
Yeah.
us.
Yep. That's exactly what I felt. The music was very idle. It was good. The atmosphere was played out really well, very empty, very self-constructive. Like you create the scares within your own mind kind of situation.
Yeah. You start immediately thinking of the what is going to happen, what could happen, where is this going? And it starts building an even deeper tension in you from your own fears than you would have initially perceived.
It's Resident Evil 7's intro the game.
Yeah, exactly. The fear of not knowing.
Mm-hmm. Slide in the Woods is a absolute masterpiece of mechanical design. It just shows like so much psychological understanding of fear in itself and tense nature, like understanding what makes the human tick in a situation of emptiness, of what am I doing? Like, what
Yeah.
is this task? Why am I continuing?
So the first couple times you go down the slide, nothing really happens. You're just kind of going down a slide. You're having a good time. The fear starts to diminish just a tiny bit, right? And then you go down the slide and the fog settles in, and it's the first step into the horror.
Yeah.
And the tension is immediately back in full force. And that sudden shock of tension when you see the fog immediately tells you shit's about to go down. It's probably best to just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it's what you know to do, even though, going in the slide was what triggered the fog. And again, fog is such a natural, a phenomenon that we face in our day-to-day life. In reality, there's nothing scary about fog. It's what's lurking in the fog. It's the
Yeah.
fantastical idolations that we create that
You start
make fog
wondering what
great.
the
Yeah,
game could be leaving back there for you.
exactly.
What's going to creep up on you from out there? And then all of a sudden, the next slide they hit you with the nighttime.
Yeah,
And from there, horror is in full swing. They start in with the grungy noises, they kill the music, it's dark. The flashlight, picking up the flashlight and describing it, absolutely phenomenal homage to classic horror. The whole
yeah.
thing was, right? But the flashlight specifically, in the moment you pick up the flashlight, that thing that's supposed to provide a sense of security to you is just an even further reminder you're getting deeper into the horror now.
Yeah.
It's gradually building up to something.
It's wild because so many games would start you with a flashlight, or they would give you the flashlight as the first tool. But if
Yeah.
you withhold something like that, you can increase your tension level to a completely different level. Withholding certain aspects of a game creates a completely different sensation that needs to be utilized more. And A Slide in the Woods really just shows the potential of taking things away from the player and showing them, hey, it's not always rainbows when you get this shit. It could just be the trigger of
especially
so much more to come.
especially your safety, right? The thing that deteriorates the most is your sense of safety and security.
Yeah.
It's just gone. The second you pick up the flashlight, the item that ironically should make you feel safe makes you feel more unsafe than you felt the entire time.
And I hate
We
to
as
do this.
gamers know the flashlight means horror.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like any game that just generally uses a flashlight option tends to have a creep factor.
Yeah.
Look at Halo 1, the flood and the ability to toggle the flashlight. Like
Doom 3 for the first
Doom
half.
3 for the first half is a great example as well. Also the brand new game Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach.
Yeah.
The game gives you this constant sense of everything's fine, save stations are everywhere, recharge stations are everywhere, and then you get to that decision making point to stay there and they take it all away from you. The horror goes from baby mode to extreme real fast because you're scared of the loss, you're scared of the inevitable. If you
Alien
fail,
isolation, your sense of humanity immediately starts to deteriorate little by little.
yes.
The deeper you get into the ship, the more she starts to kind of collapse in on herself, and the more you as the player start to feel like, okay, I'm becoming slowly more and more alone. The sense of security I felt in what could have been allies is now gone, and I know that anything I see from here forward is potentially unfriendly to me.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many games that do it so well, and this is just another artist out there who completely gets it, who understands how a mechanic should be applied. Um, I like imagine if you're playing through a horror game and you see a beacon of like the flashlight, right? And then you pick it up and he's like, it's broken. It doesn't even have batteries, and you put it down. You don't even bring it with you, and it's just like, oh. Oh, like
Yeah.
everything is just like we just went from I thought I was good to heart shattering. No, shit's about to get fucked up. They gave me the flashlight and it don't work.
So now you're real paranoid on the edge of your seat. You have the flashlight and you're about to go up. You get on the slide one more time. You go down. You're already creeped out, right? Because you don't know what's coming for you at the other end of the slide.
Yeah,
And it takes a couple more times going down. But
and
eventually you turn back around to the steps. You come up on the blood. You walk up and you see this grotesque bag laying there. You think there's a jump scare waiting for you. You, the player, I know I did, freeze in place.
oh yeah,
It's the natural reaction to seeing something totally off the cuff and wild like that.
not only that, but it isn't instantaneous. It's a long build up,
You
and
see the blood, you're
oh, I'm
waiting
going
for it,
before
and you
that.
see the blood, and then you
I'm going one
build
step
yourself
before
up
that.
to it.
I'm going one step before that. Getting in the slide again, knowing everything that you know up to this point, everything is screaming, do not go down the slide. And you
Yeah,
have to. You have to go down
yeah.
the slide.
There's nowhere else to go. You have literally nowhere to go but down.
It's like that curiosity just takes over and you're just like, I don't care. I if I'm going to be afraid, I have to just do it.
Yeah, which is a great way to convey to the player that this is not an environment that you want to be in. You cannot leave though. So just kind of push through, right? So whether or not the fear is there, the game is also reinforcing that you, the player, absolutely must overcome that fear. The options are gone at that point.
Well, my
Like
stream never connected apparently.
that's sad. No.
Why? My bad. Apparently it wasn't streaming, but we ended up recording everything. So you were saying, Red,
I was saying
the monster
I
blood
the
slide.
monster, the blood. So you go down, they give you the flashlight. There's a couple of spaces in between where you just don't see anything happen, despite your biggest anticipations telling you. And you go down the slide for that third time, and your brain almost reactively is like, okay, I've been down a few times. I feel a little more secure now. And right when that tiny sense of security comes back, that little window of opportunity for the developer to open and take the horror to you, you turn to the stairs securely, thinking, I'll just go down the slide again. And you see the blood, and you stop and you freeze in place, and you can't help but wonder to yourself what the hell is waiting for you at the top of the staircase that you can't see.
Right. I,
And then
yep.
it's just one of those things that, like, the lead up to seeing the blood in the moment is what makes you freeze rather than the blood itself. The sight of the blood could have been the sight of literally anything else laying on the staircase, and
Well,
it probably would have had the same effect.
let's not forget also, like, you have been at this slide in the woods for a few minutes now. You've done the up and downs. You know the environment. You've stopped. You've looked around, got an idea of your location. So if things change, um, and then something does change, and you half expected it, but it never happened before that, and then all of a sudden it happens, and it's also like this drear that just goes over you. This very dreary anticipation. And then you have to go up to the slide again.
Yeah. You know you have to go up to the slide again, and that's what eats at you the most about it.
It's
When
so
you get to
much
the
like
when you get to the you go ahead. Sorry.
it's fine. All I was gonna say was is an indie game can provoke these emotions, and they don't have to be like the most intense experience of your life. They're not something like they're not the most intense feelings ever, but it's the fact that they are provoked just shows that this developer knows what they are doing. I don't know why I keep
Yeah.
saying they.
Yeah. Developer makes a game where you get a little spook. And you know what? I like a little spook in my indie horror games. When I do the indie horror spotlight, whether or not I'm looking for a meme game or an actually really good game. And this one was just one of those unfortunate circumstances where I was like looking for a meme game, really overdid it with the horror. Fucking made myself way more tense than I should have been. It,
Yeah, you end up
it
scaring yourself.
yeah, I walked into it with very low expectations and ended up scaring myself probably way more than intended.
I think you'd really like playing Chernobylite, but we can have another conversation about that another time. But you want to talk about intense gameplay? That game is intense.
Very dreary.
If you want to shit your pants, go play that.
Ah, dreary. You get to the top of the stairs of the slide. There's the thing, the bloody bag laying there that's human shaped, and you kind of just approach it slowly, thinking, I'm gonna get jump scared and whatever. And then the jump scare doesn't come. Instead, you see this hand emerge and pull the thing down, and instead of the fear you get from a jump scare, the sudden fear, a real sense of terror washes over your body.
Yeah,
You
because
are
you were
now
tricked.
horrified. Yeah.
You were not only put in a situation where the hand that comes out pulls it down the slide, the location in which you want to proceed to, but
Is where it comes
you
from.
thought the bag thing was the monster.
Yeah.
Wrong.
That subtle misdirection is so effective.
Love it.
You
I
go
love it.
you go down the slide that time, and the misdirection gets even bigger. You're thinking, "Oh, I'll go down the slide again, and it'll do the thing a couple more times." Patterns, right?
And then it'll be
I'll go down the
daytime.
slide, nothing will happen, and then the slide keeps going.
Oh
And
my
that terror
god,
that you
yeah.
just gave yourself is amplified so tremendously that by the time you hit the texture change and you're falling through the ventway, you were pissed. You are absolutely stunned silent for the most part. I had a lot to say during
I
my
have a lot
travels
to
because I was
say.
uncomfortable.
I have a lot to say as well. Um, of course, if you guys want to see his horror showcase, check out his channel, Red Barrel
Yeah, that'll
FDW.
go up soon
This will
after
also be up
this.
soon. Um, okay, so the initial like end of the slide, everything has built up to these points, which is so cool because not a lot of games can do build up very well. And this again just shows this creator's skill. You get inside this tunnel, you start going down it, and then it doesn't stop. So, you can't go backwards, you're just stuck going forwards. You can hardly look behind you. Um, it's a tunnel. Like, it's a tunnel. There's no food, there's no water, there's limited air. You can only move so fast. It's cramped. You're going to be claustrophobic. Everything just comes in all at once. No light, limited light, technically. It's just a lot. It's a lot that happens super fast. Like, you just want to get out of it as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And it invokes like a sense of true horror in you. Who wants to get stuck in a hole? Constantly going down.
Hmm.
No one.
So
No one.
yeah, I took me a second. No one.
You're like, Chris. No, wait, no, Chris would hate that.
Yeah. I think the most tension was already there by the time you hit the bottom of the slide. From there forward, it was the walk up through the temple, unleashing the chains, just kind of this. On top of this terror, now the game is starting to build a sense of discomfort.
It's almost
So,
like he took different styles of horror and connected them into like telling a greater narrative. Like, if you're scared at these points, it means this, but if you're scared of the more supernatural stuff, it means this about you, which was
yeah,
super interesting. Like, he goes through a complete different narrative. Like, you could really be like, where in your body does this game tell you to walk away from it, and that means something about you, like your bravery or your courageousness. It's
yep.
interesting.
Immediately following the temple where you release the heart and lower it, that disgust and discomfort is there. And then the face creeps in through the door, and you just kind of happen to glance over it, and now there's something following you.
Yeah.
That discomfort, that tension that you felt before, everything has suddenly been thrown out the window, and at full force, replacing those things is sheer panic.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know where I am. I haven't been in this room. I know the jungle gym, but I'm not at the jungle gym. I gotta get the hell
Is
out of
that
here.
thing gonna kill me? Yeah, that you really gotta just run, and that's the only option they give you. The door opens slowly, this thing is creeping up on you, and the crawling mechanic. All you could want is to be able to crawl faster.
Oh yeah,
That's it.
and they take it away.
Yep. You can only crawl at a certain speed for a certain period of time and then hope you make it through. And the noise behind you the entire time you get through that second crawling section is
Yeah,
visceral.
it's like, yeah, visceral. That's a great word because it you could really connect to it. I think everybody's had that sensation of trapped, a sensation of I would even say like deeply lost, like not knowing where you are physically in the world and things like that. And that sensation of somebody following you, but you have no choice but to go forward, but you have no idea where you're going
And it's
is
amplified
it's
even
so
more by
real.
being yeah, it's amplified even more by being trapped in a very tiny tunnel that's just body sized.
It's analogous to life, which is crazy.
Very yeah. So the claustrophobia starts to build, intense with the panic, makes it worse the whole time. Up until the very end of the game, the horror is there and it's tense and it's always there.
And you also have like your Lovecraftian moment,
Yeah.
and you have there's just so many styles being presented here. Um,
All
it just
stemming from what is
showcase.
effectively the simplest idea.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Something anybody could have thought of, anybody could have done, was done so perfectly the first time.
But it's also one of those things where you have to be like a unique mind to just generalize horror such a way that it works that well.
Really. This is one of those rare instances where I give the game a 10 out of 10 and think it deserves a little bit more attention than it actually gets. And it gets a lot. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah, of course.
but
But
that
you're not
doesn't
talking
negate the
about the
fact
game,
that
you're
it's
talking
like,
about the person.
yeah, I'm talking about the person. Keep an eye on this developer because for a fact, they will go on to do some very amazing things. Absolutely incredible work like this does not go unnoticed.
This is the kind of work that is put out that gets somebody hired into like programming mechanical concepts. they'll be the ones writing puzzles. They'll be the ones developing room layouts and progression of story markers and triggers, because they're going to understand the most. They understand video games. These are the greatest game developer traits that you could have, and they should be greatly respected, and I respect it greatly.
Yeah. It's a good thing to have developers and minds like this, keeping creativity built on simple things alive. This is the prime example of how to do a game jam game.
This
If
is
you want
the
to make a game jam game and get recognized for it, do something with your unique, beautiful mind to tell a story that you can accurately convey. And do it with,
gusto,
yeah, do it with gusto. Just send it.
a flourish. Does
Just
that
really send it.
that's what a slide in the woods is. It is a flourish on this developer's portfolio. They're like horror. Like if this was like a resume, horror, and then just like a big check mark. Got that? Not a problem. Got you. You know what I mean? Like it's a flourish across the paper for them.
Yeah, which is
Awesome.
you love to see it, honestly.
It's the exact opposite of our scopophobia episode, because we could sit here and really honor this creator. I mean, obviously, like graphics and things like that are subjugated to opinion. I think the PS1 cross PS2 style worked for it. Um, it doesn't need a VHS filter. It doesn't need the static screens. It doesn't need any of that. It works
Yeah.
very
And
well the
there's
way
no
it
real
works.
intense post processing. Its flatness gives it an even deeper sense of tension and style.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything looks connected together.
I mean, could this have been like an 8K surrealist or even realist projection and still have been equally horrifying? Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. But this could have also been unturned graphics and still have been horrifying.
Yeah.
'Cause
It wasn't the matter of how it looked. It was its execution ultimately that made this game so incredible at
now,
the
if it
end.
was Studio Ghibli graphics, it would be cute.
And then I think my favorite thing to come of all of this is the sense of wonder you have at the end. When you
Oh, yeah.
finally get out of the tunnel, escape, you emerge from the other end of the slide, and then it disappears and you're just in the woods and it's daytime again. It
And
leaves you wondering,
there's
what the
no
hell just
story.
happened?
Yeah, there's no story. There's no here's those deep lore. Here you gotta find all the notes and look for all the paintings. It's just
Yeah,
this happened. Sometimes life doesn't give you an excuse. It just is what it
the only
is.
inkling of story through the entire thing is a single note you find during one of the nighttime loops at the top of at the top of the slide. And all it says is some kids have gone missing, like they disappeared, no story. That's it.
That's it. That's it. That's all you get.
Yeah, that's all you need.
The slide's eating people, and
Yeah.
you're on the menu.
So it turned out to be a little bit of a meme, but it's still a really
Of
good
course.
good game. It was the meme I was looking for and the horror game I wanted to up my standards for that episode.
No, I'm excited to talk about um this, obviously, but it connects so well to what else I'm interested in talking about, which is going to be Freddy Fazbear's Security Breach, because or Five Nights at Freddy's rather. I'm excited to discuss why this game is both a masterpiece and a piece of shit.
Huh. Interesting two-sided conversation about that's interesting. You could honestly have that conversation about every entry in the series.
Yes, but this one is a very special case to me, and I have a lot to say as a draft designer, because I want to know who drafted this and meet them. If
I'm
it,
interested. I'm willing to buy the game at my paycheck. I'm willing to play through the entirety of it.
I already played through it. Because of
Well,
course I
good for
did.
you.
Yeah, I played it on my
Because some of
phone.
us some of us have been playing other games like A Slide in the Woods.
I
So,
was playing Control today.
yeah, you were. I liked that.
It's such a good game. I'm going through all the lore. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. Control is so good. Um, But there's a lot here from A Slide in the Woods. This is what I was trying to say. That you can see in Security Breach. There's a lot of tension building. There's a lot of mechanics and understanding of human psychology used in both games. So it's a great example of how a AAA developer can use it and how an indie developer can use it. How you can have a 15-minute experience and how you can have a 16-hour experience just based off of the exact same arc style writing.
Yeah.
It's almost formulaic in a way that just works.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Of
Just
course.
just keep adding to it.
Innovate.
It's not about innovate. Something simple can be very innovative. That is the lesson to take away from today.
And that innovation does not mean put zombies in it.
No.
That's
No, that
wrong.
is the literal polar opposite of innovation.
That is degradation. Like, well, then again, I feel like everybody wants GTA 5 zombies online. I feel like everybody and their mom wants that.
Yeah, but everybody wanted Saints Row 3 to have zombies too, and we all saw how that went.
Listen, you can't innovate without a little failure along the way. Crackdown did it pretty good.
Yeah.
The day night cycle thing was pretty cool. The zombies all come out at night and you have to use different weapons against them. I like that. That worked out really well. But imagine like Escape from Tarkov being flooded with zombies. Be shit.
Yeah. I play a lot of Pavlov in VR, never really touched the zombies there either. There's just no reason to.
Do you think the horror stuff in VR is like over the top scary or no?
Not usually, but I gotta say, there's something about Help Wanted that really gives it an extra level of scary sometimes. And
Interesting.
that's not even, yeah, it's not even anything to do with being what it is, or it's just something about being in that environment, knowing that you really can't run away from something coming at you, and that thought constantly runs through my mind. And it changes. I could play through Five Nights at Freddy's 3 100 times and not even blink when the jump scares pop up. But if I play through Help Wanted's version of it, I suddenly start to feel like I am stuck there because I'm seeing it through my eyes and my
Yeah.
perspective.
I would
I'm in the
love to
environment.
see the developer of A Slide in the Woods to somehow put a VR version out.
Oh yeah, I would make it so good. I
So,
would play through a slide in the woods again in VR just
yeah.
for that.
That like extra sense of like this is real would just do it so much justice. Well, I
I
think
appreciated it.
who was the developer?
I I have the thing open still. It's Johnny's Games with two N's.
Is
I'll
that
put
on
a link.
itch?
Yeah, I'll send you the link to the thingy doos, and you can put the link to the thingy doos, and I'll have the link to it to put in my thingy doos.
Nice. I'll need your link
Yeah,
as well. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us for Monster Mecha.
yeah. This has been a slide in the woods. Thank you for taking a slide with us.
I am going too fast. I'm going to hit the button.
Dang.
I can't help myself. Oh God.